Greetings, everyone. Happy Monday. Today is the day that the moon rules, and the moon is in Pisces. We are heading into a Mercury retrograde that is in the shadow period now. We are in Scorpio season right now. Also, the sun is in Scorpio. And I just wanted to come in because for the last decade, I have been doing my work to help myself and other people wake up, to help us remember who we are, to help us. Like, I've always known that the world that we were in was fake. I knew it because I could feel it. I could feel that we were, I was often going against myself. I was often in environments where everyone was saying things that didn't feel true to me, but if I spoke out against it or questioned it, then I would be ostracized for that. So I learned how to go along to get along. And in the process of learning to go along to get along, I disconnected myself from my feelings, from my sensory system, right? It's a real thing. Like, you hear men or you hear people saying, no, women are so emotional, but your emotions are the power that moves your creative essence. You must have emotions, but we live in a culture that is so deeply patriarchal and masculine leaning that emotions don't have value. What you feel doesn't matter, which is why, these systems have allowed for children to be molested, because you override your feelings. Don't say that. You don't question everything. Don't do, like, your feelings have had no value. And what I have discovered in my own healing journey, which continues, is that the feelings are so important. Without your feelings are signals. They're like antennas. They're like, and it's not just about like, how you feel about people or things like that. It's literally a system. Your feelings are a system inside of you, that gauge your energy, that help you understand your environment. Like how animals can sense a storm coming and they will go to higher ground. That's a feeling thing. That's a sensory thing. And we have been disconnected from our feelings for the sake of getting along, for the sake of, not wanting to be weird or not. Like, it's a real thing. And as I have spent the last decade really teaching people, assisting people to come back into their power, their magic. And it requires that you have feelings. You cannot do it without feelings. And so many of us, what I have seen in myself, I have been afraid to feel. I have been in deep fear of my own feelings because they are so enormous. I remember when my mother died and me making a decision. I was like, if I allow these feelings to be felt, I will not survive. I will not survive feeling the feelings of my mother dying. And so I suppressed them. So I pushed them down. Breakups, disappointments, all of that stuff, pushed it. And what do Americans suffer with the most? Heart attack. Why? Because their emotions are being suppressed. And that is what the patriarchy has required of us. The patriarchy says your feelings don't matter, and your feelings absolutely. And that is why people find themselves in circumstances and situations that are deeply harmful, because they have been ignoring and denying their feelings. How many times have you been like, oh, I felt like that wasn't the right thing to do and I did it anyway, and then you pay the cost for it? All of that is core to your humanity, is core to yours, and many of us are ignoring it. And then our lives go down these loops because we are denying the very essence of our core intuition, our connection to source. And there are ways that we can restore this. That's what I'm here to talk about. How do we restore ourselves into our natural ways of being? So one of the things that's important to know is that just because you don't use something, you don't lose it. It atrophies, but it's still there. And so you can begin to do the work to activate your feelings. Just begin to, like, so for things that I have done, like I have gently over time I have put myself in uncomfortable situations so that I can adjust. Cold water, cold showers, hot foods, like things to really allow me to feel. And then noticing my sensitivities. Like I am so sensitive, and I'm really defended and quite fragile. Honestly, like a girlfriend of mine said today, you're so fragile. And I am. I'm like a china vase. And that's because I grew up in an environment with so much trauma. So I have been doing work to toughen myself up. I have to toughen myself up because everything is like, when you grow up with alcoholics and drug addicts and all that kind of stuff, it's not safe to feel, right? So many of us grew up in families where we were with people who were violent in some way. They were emotionally violent, psychically violent, and so you didn't feel safe to feel. So you start to put all that stuff up, and you are responsible, and we're going to need that. You need that now. You're not going to be able to live your life on this planet without your full system working. Your emotions, your mind, you're going to have to learn how to dominate your own mind. Like, there was a time when I used to allow myself to just run my thoughts about this and that and da-da-da. Too much light is coming in, y'all. Like, literally, you cannot do that. Like, you got to heal these patterns of overthinking and obsessive thinking and scarcity and fear. And as I have been doing this work, man, when I tell you, it is very profound work. Like, it's very interesting because it's ancestral, it's nature, it's understanding my own psychology, and it's consuming. It's like I'm like tired of myself, but I need to be able to function in a way that I can be here. Like, I can't be here emotionally handicapped. I can't be here as a human being not able to have access to my best mindset, my best health system. I need to feel good in this system. So I have to do the work to clear out the reality that I inherited from my family, from my parents, through my ancestry, and take responsibility for it. And that, we have been in 400 years of indoctrination. 400 years. We don't have a clue who we are. That's what I have discovered. Like, you might think you know yourself. You don't know yourself. We are so far from who we are. And one of the things that I have in my ancestral work and, medicine works and all that sort of stuff, that as many of us who come from enslaved people in this country, our ancestors, like, this stuff sounds really interesting, right? We put ourselves to sleep. We purposely, because there are no mistakes in the universe. That's the thing. We're in such a challenging time on the planet, is that we think that there are mistakes. There are no mistakes. It's not a mistake that we endured this experience called slavery. It's not a mistake. And when we understand that the universe uses everything, that's the thing. This system is amazing, y'all. Like, I don't know how people don't sit around and study it. It's the most interesting thing ever. This system that we're in is profound. The universe uses everything. It uses the light and the dark. And so when I realized that, I was like, the universe uses everything. Okay, so my ancestors have been in 500 years of deep suffering. What would the universe use that for? Why would we? And then I saw it. Then I was in a medicine and saw, like, we agreed to this. Like, this thing that we're doing here is not about America. It's not about racism. All of that shit has just been a distraction, you all. That we are here to really elevate humanity into a whole new level. We are really here to wake up and remember who we are. And this thing called racism in America has just been a distraction. It's nothing. Get over it. It's hard for me to even say that because it has been so compelling for me. I have spent so many years wrapped up in the narrative of racism. And so I get it, but make it your business to want to heal it, because who you are underneath that suffering, who you are underneath those trauma stories is remarkable. And you can't get to it without healing that trauma. You can't get there without healing the trauma. You got to go through it. And that's the work that I've been doing. And what I'm saying is that as I've been doing this work, as I've come to what feels like a final stage on some level, because it's going to continue, the feeling part is important. And I have been deeply afraid to feel for good reason. For good reason. Deeply afraid to feel for good reason, but it cannot be avoided. It cannot be avoided. You must do the work to feel and create safe containers and spaces for yourself to be able to feel the sadness, the despair, the depression. You have to feel it. The feeling of it is what frees you. And there's no other way around it. So what we've been doing is we've been eating it, we've been shopping it, we've been looking for romantic partners, all trying to avoid feeling the evidence of your own suffering and sadness. Like, don't avoid it. Feel it. Go into it. It's ancestral. Your power is there. Your magic is there. Your freedom is there. And it is remarkable. I'm starting to really have profound evidence. I have been teaching people for years these things, helping people do healing work, and I'm starting to really see the people who I've been working with coming into themselves, and I'm so happy. It's amazing. It's amazing because I've always believed and known that we're not who we think we are. And now that I'm beginning to see, like, oh, I've been working with this person for this long, and look at what they're doing now, and look at how they healed their family and the lineage with their mother or their relationship with their husband. And I'm one bad motherfucker. I really am, because I have been able to be true to the vision. When nobody else was saying it and do it, I have been able to be true to it and stand with people who felt it inside of them. And now the evidence of it is starting to really show up. And I feel so proud of myself. I feel so proud of myself. I have been able to say, there is this other thing happening. And if you want it, I will walk with you. And I'm seeing the evidence of people's lives transforming and in real ways, healing their bodies, healing their families. And I'm so proud of myself. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. And even in my own family, and there've been a lot of sacrifices. I've had to really learn to trust myself and have confidence. And I've had to separate myself from people who didn't really understand what I was up to. I had to really separate myself from people who didn't get it. And that it was okay that they didn't get it. It was totally okay that they didn't get it. But so it's been lonely. It's been hard. And, I've been separate from my family in the last several years, but the evidence is starting to show up, and I am so grateful. So I encourage you guys, start doing your work to heal. The energy is available. Study your natal charts, really study yourself. And that's it. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.